Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Gebo the Shaman, and today we're talking about what happens when we have a Gemini Ascendant. So Gemini in the Ascendant or first house. So all that good stuff, and before we get into all that good stuff, I'd just like to let you guys know that I have a bunch of products and services and courses and a bunch of things that you can check out. You can do that by going to gebotheshaman.com and checking that out. Alright, so what happens when we have a Gemini Ascendant? So, well, the first thing that we need to know is what an Ascendant is. Then we'll talk about Gemini in the first house and what that means for your entire chart. Because honestly, this is, the Ascendant is the most important position within your birth chart. It determines your whole entire chart. So, it's very important. So, yeah. So we have, so what is this? What is an Ascendant? So an Ascendant is basically the sign that was rising at the time of your birth. So we each have our own birth times, they vary. And so every 2 hours the rising sign changes. And this is why we use the rising sign in Vedic astrology instead of the sun sign, because the sun sign only it changes every month, so that's not very accurate to a person's personality. The sun has its own meaning in Vedic astrology, and so it has its own purpose and its own kind of role to play. So the Ascendant is, like I said, the sign that's rising at the time of your birth, and yeah, so this basically determines your entire chart. So if you look at it, your Ascendant, your first house, is basically it's at the horizon at the time of your birth. So that means that if you go to your fourth house, if you look at so we have the first, fourth, seventh, and 10th, which are the the foundation, basically the foundation of your entire chart. But that foundation cannot exist without your first house, without your first house being exactly where it is. So that's why we use the Ascendant as the most important sign, the most important sign in your chart. So the first, fourth, seventh, and 10th house are known as Kendra houses. I did a whole video about that a couple days ago, so if you want to check that out, you can. Alright, so now just to touch on that, your fourth house is what's beneath your feet. Your house, in other words. So looking at your first house is the sunset or sunrise or rising sign. So it's at the eastern horizon. So your Ascendant represents the eastern horizon. And then the fourth house is what's beneath your feet. Now the seventh house is the western horizon, so that's sunset. So that would be descendant sign. The 7th house is also your house of relationships. And then the 10th house is your career. This is also known as your midhaven in Western astrology. So that's kind of the blueprint. So you have a Gemini ascendant. That means that you have a Virgo. So let's see, yeah. So Virgo 4th house, Sagittarius 9th house or 7th house, and what's opposite from Virgo? Pisces? Yeah, Pisces in your 10th house. So we'll talk about those coming up, but just, yeah. So anyway, so you're basically that's how your chart is laid out. So so regarding your first house is your ascendant is Gemini, and so if you so basically this means that this is a representation of your physical body. You could be someone who has Gemini characteristics, can be like long, like tall and skinny, have long arms, have very symmetrical, well, that would be Libra, but like just be very tall and skinny and things like that. So that would represent your first house. This also represents how you would see the world. So you would look at the world through a very logical lens, very intellectual, very communicative. So Gemini would be very communicative, very intellectual and stuff like that. And so that's kind of how you're seeing the world through. You use your intellect. So then in the second, actually having Mercury here, so remember the first lord, basically the ruler of the first house is Mercury if you're Gemini ascendant. So knowing where your Mercury is positioned is very important. And so if it's placed in the first house, that just means that you're going to have extra mercurial energy. And first lord in the first house is a very good sign. It provides strength to the physical body, and it's a good thing. So it's pretty positive thing. And then the second house. So in your second house you have Cancer. So Cancer in the second house would be, you would have a very logical, or like, not logical, but like second house. So in order to better understand this placement, second house represents your savings, your values, your valuables, your possessions, your worth, your value, things like that, your like net worth and whatever. But this can also represent the values that your mother and your family passed down to you. Second house also represents your family. So Cancer in the second house, Cancer represents the mother, represents emotions, very watery, it's ruled by the moon and Jupiter. So you're going to see where those are placed in your chart. And so, Cancer in the second house, that would give you, like, your values would be, your this is the thing with the second house, is your savings are going to be up and down. Because what does the moon do? The moon waxes to full and wanes to empty to a new moon. And then it, the tides rise and fall, etc. So the moon is very changeable. It's always changing. So your savings account is going to be up and down. It's not going to. Your savings account is going to be more like a checking account. It's not going to be anything permanent or stable. Nope, not with that. So anyway, let's see. My throat is getting extremely dry. Alright, so let's see here. So if you have your oh yeah, so another thing about Cancer in the second house is that if you have like your values are going to be up and down. Like, you could change your religions very easily, you could change spiritual beliefs very easily, and it's like your values and your stuff like that are very changeable. And so if somebody can pursue you with enough like emotions attached to a certain belief or concept, they can sway you. So so it's like like for example, believing that getting you could be easily persuaded into thinking that into, let's say, getting into a cult. People, like, somebody could come at you with a very emotional argument, a very emotional thing, and like sway you into believing that. So yeah. So second house is your savings, it's your values. So at a certain point you might value money and physical material goods, like physical things. But at another point in your life, you could value spirituality and like things like that, ascension. So yeah, it's a very, very changeable kind of thing. Let's see. So if Mercury is placed in your second house, that means that you that's going to be a primary focus of your life, like your savings, your investments, your values, and things like that are going to be, very important. And Mercury does well in the second house. I should say Mercury can do well. It's you're gonna have to look at your individual chart to see that, but yeah. Alright, so I'll try to go through these quickly, but I'm just having a hard time with my voice. Third house would be Leo. So Gemini is a naturally very communicative person. So having Leo in your third house is very, apt for, big self-expression, big communication. You're going to be, like, the third house is the house of communication, and Leo is the house of, or the sign of, self-expression and putting yourself out there and being, boisterous and flamboyant and being the center of attention and commanding attention and commanding, all kinds of stuff. So that's in the house of communication. So very good, a lot of good communication there. Like a lot of, like, maybe self-centered, or like, just very egotistical in regards to your communication. And then fourth house, we have Virgo. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about Mercury in the third house. So in the third house, Mercury just means that you're going to have that extra communicative ability. It's really going to be amplified. Because Mercury is the planet of communication. And then fourth house, Virgo. So fourth house is your mother, your relationship with your mother. And Virgo is, it's like it's a very analytical, very critical sign. And so, yeah, it's very, it can, your mother will probably have raised you to be very, very perfectionistic. So there's that, like, critical aspect from the mother. It can be, I don't want to, like, Virgo has good qualities too. It is the planet, or the sign of service to others, and feeding people, giving them the bread and the food and the medicine to be healthy. But as far as like love and nurturing things go, it's not gonna be there. So your mother might very well take very good care of you on the physical level, but not on the emotional level, not on the psychological level. So there's that. And then we have we have Mercury in the fourth house. Basically, that's going to give you, your mother will be very communicative, and there's going to be a lot of karma with your mother. There's going to be a strong focus on your home life, on your mother, on things like that. So, and then sixth or fifth house, that would be Libra. So Libra in the fifth house, this is balanced fun. So Libra in the fifth house, you would have a very good balance with your partner. So so fifth house is the house of your children. So you could have a very, good relationship with them. You would, Libra is the house of is the sign of relationships. I don't know why I keep saying house, but anyway, it's a sign of relationships, and so, you would have a very positive, very strong relationship with your children, which is a good thing. Also, Gemini, you are very, you would have a very, good relationship with, like, your partner. So, like, fifth house is also house of making children, having relations with people. So, it's, Libra is one of those signs that can either be balanced or imbalanced. So there tends to be a kind of a overindulgence in that area of life until you finally, work to balance that out. Regarding Mercury in the fifth house, that can be a very good position for communication with children. And again, the focus in your life is going to be around children and sexual partners and things like that, and fun. Like, I always tell people, having fun, don't forget that. Like, don't forget to have fun and do the things that make you happy and things like that. So, and then sixth house would be Scorpio. So Scorpio in the sixth house is not a very fun position. Sixth house, eighth house, and 12th house is a Dastana house. Are Dastana houses. So they are very, they have the tendency to be malefic in nature. Sixth house is the house of enemies. And so, if you have, it's also the house of your physical health, like your daily routines that you do for physical health, and like going to the gym, eating good foods, healthy foods, things like that. And so this just shows like a very imbalanced and chaotic daily routine, daily work life. It's just chaos, and it's, up and down. It's like very crazy. Like, you experience a lot of like just random stuff that happens in your day, like very, very chaotic, very crazy. And this also means that you could have some ups and downs in your health as well. You're like someone who has like Taurus in here in the sixth house would have a very stable work routine, things like that. But Gemini, this is not a stable work routine, or things like that. It's very chaotic and up and down. Regarding Mercury in the sixth house, that would provide even more up and downs, like even more instability, because Mercury is a very fast moving planet. So if you want a fast moving planet in the house of, enemies with a very fast, transformative, chaotic sign, that is not a good thing. That is not a very positive thing, but you can do mantras, you can do things to kind of balance that out. You can find remedies to balance that out. If you want a remedy for this, I would say well, you would have to look at the planetary positions in your chart in order to really find something that works, because if I tell you something now and it's badly placed in your chart, it's just going to make it worse. So you can do an all-purpose mantra, like the Shiva mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, or the Gayatri mantra. That's well, my version that I do is Om Burung Boha, Om Swaha, Om Maha, Om Janaha, Om Tapaha, Om Satyam, Om Tat Savitur Varanyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. And I think I have a video on that one. I'm not sure, but you can find it on my teacher's channel. So that's Thunder Wizard if you aren't familiar. But anyway, let's see here. 7th house. So me being that you are a Gemini ascendant, you would have Sagittarius in the 7th house. Let me grab a drink. So Sagittarius in the 7th house. So, well, 7th house is your relationship with your partner, your spouse. And then Sagittarius is like philosophy, religion, higher education, spirituality. It's the teacher. So this means that you would have a very philosophical relationship with your spouse. Your spouse could teach you things about religion, about spirituality, about higher education, things like that, philosophy, things like that. So your spouse would be very, be like this person who has this like in-depth knowledge about a lot of things. Or maybe not a lot of things, but just like, spirituality and stuff like that. So that could, they could teach you a lot about that. And then 8th house is Capricorn. So 8th house being Capricorn, this means that like the 8th house is your shared assets. It's your in-laws, it's your shared assets, it's the things that you share with your spouse, your shared values and things like that. 8th house is also a Dastana house. Remember, that's 6, 8, and 12. And so with Capricorn here, this is actually a good sign for you, Gemini. This is actually a really good sign for the 8th house to be, Capricorn in the 8th house. So, because what happens is Capricorn is a very slow-moving sign. Or very, it's just slows down, like everything. It's, so basically what happens is that fast-moving energy of the 8th house gets slowed down by Capricorn. So it ends up, getting slowed down, and so that transformative energy takes a while. You know, that it's slow. You're not going to be going from like a millionaire to a pauper to a millionaire back like overnight. It's going to take a while. So any kind of like sudden, chaotic, transformative stuff, it's going to take longer. So it's not that that quick transformation. Anyway, with Mercury here in the 8th house, that provides a little bit more energy for the chaotic side. It's like I explained in the 6th house almost, yeah. It's like that energy. Grab another drink. And so 9th house would be Aquarius. Now your 9th house is your house of good luck. It is the house of good luck. It's the house of your guru. It is the house of good, really positive things, beneficial things, things like that. Foreign travel, vacations, things like that. And then, so when you have Aquarius here, it just kind of brings like a very, you could have a lot of good luck with a really nice and beneficial guru who just like serves you and lifts you up, so you could have a very, very good relationship with a good teacher. And you could also 11th house, or the Aquarius is like humanitarianism, and so there's that tie to humanitarianism and maybe teaching others as like a humanitarian. So, and then we have the 12th house, or we have the Pisces in your 10th house, I think. Let's see. Pisces, Aries, okay, yeah. Pisces in the 10th house. So 10th house is the house of your career. Pisces is spirituality, so you could either have a spiritual career, or Pisces also represents it's like foreign places, so you could work in foreign places. You could work in something involving the ocean, some career involving the ocean. You could be like a explorer or something like that. Something. You could do like oceanography, like mapping the ocean floor or something like that. You could work in spirituality as a psychic and things like that. And then with Mercury here, this is a focus on your career. So if I haven't mentioned Mercury in any other position, I just want you to know that Mercury is going to be making you focus on the house that it is positioning on. So whether that's, first house would be yourself, your physical health, things like that. Second house would be your savings and your values, etc., etc. I've already mentioned the houses and stuff like that. So yeah, then in the 11th house, you would have Aries. Yeah, 11th house Aries. So this gives you a very fiery, passion to help other people, to be humanitarian, but also Aries is kind of self-centered. So it would be more like, I want to help others because I want to be the center of attention. You know, that kind of thing. That would be, yeah. You could also do very well being the leader of groups and organizations. You know, if you could be the most popular one in your friend group or whatever, you know. And then 12th house would be Taurus. So 12th house is sleep, it's liberation, it's spirituality. So it's all about grounding that spirituality. Taurus is about grounding. How can I practically apply this spirituality? Because a lot of things, especially taught on YouTube in regards to spirituality, regarding like New Age philosophy and a lot of, you know, whatever. There's a lot of weird, false stuff out there. So, anyway, so not all things are practical. So it's about finding what's practical for you and doing that. Me, I am all about practicality. I have these spiritual practices that I do every day, and you can do them too. We have the Self-Transformation Challenge, which is down here, and the Cosmic Qigong. Both of those courses are very powerful for spiritual growth and spiritual transformation. If you make them a part of your everyday life and do them every day, and as well as like your mantra or, you know, meditation, like it's just a transformative practice. So you can check that out. Once again, that's on sale at GeboTheShaman.com. So I would check that out. And then we have the Astrology certification course. So if you're interested in astrology, you can check that out, definitely. That basically will walk you through my process of doing an astrology reading step by step, step A through step Z. And not only that, when you pass my certification exam, I'll give you your own free website that you don't have to pay for. And that includes having a PayPal button. So yeah, it's a very, very good deal. Anyway, then we have the Vedic astrology readings available. So with those readings, I do my standard reading that I do for everybody, as well as I do readings where I focus on your career and your relationships. And so, yeah. So, that reading also includes mantras. So, basically, I'll look at your chart, I'll look at where your planets are placed, and I'll find out your perfect mantra for you. So it's really well worth the price, and it's on sale right now, so I would go get that. And then we have the birth time rectification. So if you're one of those people who is new to astrology maybe, or you know, you just don't know your exact birth time, you know your birth date, but no, do you know your birth time? Like I said, in Vedic astrology, we focus on the Ascendant, so that changes every 2 hours, so it's very helpful and very necessary to know your exact birth time down to the minute. That's what I do as a Vedic astrologer and as a birth time rectification expert. So, yeah, I do birth time rectification. And then I do distance energy healing. So if you're struggling with your health, with anything like that, physical, mental, even mental and emotional health are, can be helped with this practice. So that's very powerful and healing in itself. And then we have the career coaching and the life coaching, so definitely encourage you to do that. The career coaching, the career consultation, basically helps you to find out your exact purpose in this life. It helps you to find out exactly what you want to do in life, and so that way you don't have to sit on the couch, eating Cheetos, watching Netflix, wondering what the hell you're supposed to do in life. You can instead have a plain, a laid out goal, a clear purpose, a clear vision for your life. That's what I help you do in a career consultation, is help you really get clarity on what it is you want to do in life. And then the Qigong we talked about already, so I am done, guys. So you guys can go to gebotheshaman.com to check out everything I have to offer. And we will talk to you next time. Peace.